Raize, R-A-I-Z-E. We're the best tasting cookies that won't spike your blood sugar. So the name Raize is a combo of the words R-A-I-S-E. Like we want to raise the bar for what dessert can be. I started to go online, go to the store, try and find a dessert or a baked good that actually tasted good, that wouldn't spike my blood sugar. So after trying pretty much everything I could get my hands on, I was just really disappointed by what was out there.
Not even manufacturing, like cooking,
baking,
like baking this product, like that's a lot.
Yeah,
not knowing
like your first month, how much you do in revenue? Like your first month you launched.
First month we launched, we did around 20K in revenue.
That's pretty good.
Damn. All right, so yeah, welcome to episode 30 of New Money Talks. Whenever you're ready, you can look at us, you can look at the camera.
Welcome to episode 30 of New Money Talks.
There we go. Nice and crisp.
All right, we got Zach Ranen with us today, who's the founder of Raize cookies.
Raize.
Raize. We got to have at least one like mess up in the beginning just to get like the jitters out,
Get the jitters going.
Raize, we're good.
No, we're good. You fucked up.
Raize cookies. Man, starting from private equity to cookies. We'll talk about how you kind of got from one to the other. But one of the questions that we just asked that we wanted to save for the podcast was how you even came up with the brand name. We'll get into like who you are, what you've done. We'll crack into that a little bit later.
I think we're going to try eating one of these during this podcast.
Oh, yeah. But how'd you come up with the name Raize?
Yeah.
Not Raisin.
Raize.
Although you should come out with a raisin version.
Oh, too high carb.
Oh, that's good to know. Okay.
So Raize, R-A-I-Z-E. We're the best tasting cookies that won't spike your blood sugar. So the name Raize is a combo of the words R-A-I-S-E. Like we want to raise the bar for what dessert can be.
Okay.
And R-A-Z-E, like to tear down. We want to tear down the idea of sugar-filled traditional desserts.
I like that.
And then it's kind of got the bonus third meaning of enjoy cookies without raising your blood sugar.
Ah, it's like triple.
Triple on
I feel like I'm in Shark Tank right now. I just like open up the product and try to take a bite into this. Let's see if it's any good.
They give you the samples.
So which one is this?
So this is our limited edition flavor from last month that we sold out of, but I saved a box for you guys.
Thank you.
It's our white chocolate cookie with a strawberry filling.
This is solid. This is good stuff.
Thank you.
It's funny because I was just talking to my girlfriend yesterday because I like to be health conscious, and I'm like, there's not a lot of like healthy snacks out there like that exist.
Yeah.
And any of the ones that are out there are like very expensive. Like we were going grocery shopping yesterday, like getting food for dinner, and you go down the snack aisle and you look at the ingredients, you can't pronounce half of them. And it's like, but that's all of America. That's also like other countries as well. But the only thing I have right now on subscription is like these Quest nutrition chips. So good. I don't know if you've ever had them.
Definitely.
But it's like, but those are like, they're like $3 for a little bag of chips.
That's why we're the fattest country in the world. You know?
Yeah. but like the value of healthy snacks, I think that market is like 100% emerging right now. And like people need to figure it out or they're going to like get diabetes and all these things that like cause you to die young. Like, yeah, it's
Totally.
So why doesn't this give me diabetes?
Yeah.
It tastes like it does. You know what I mean?
It's good. I gotta try it.
It's good.
That's the best compliment you can give. So really diabetes is the result of metabolic syndrome where consistently throughout your life, you're spiking your blood sugar, taxing your body's metabolic system, and you have to pump out insulin in your body every time you spike your blood sugar in order to draw that sugar into your cells to actually use it for energy.
I see.
But similar to how when you drink coffee the first time, you really feel the effects.
With jitters and all that.
Yep. And then, but if you drink that same cup of coffee every day in a month, you're barely going to feel it.
Yeah.
That's like with insulin. If you eat a bunch of sugar, you'll pump out a bunch of insulin and you'll, correctly draw that sugar into your cells and use it. But after years and years of doing that, it takes more and more insulin to keep getting that same amount of sugar actually used into your cells. And that over time creates insulin resistance, which is the hallmark of diabetes.
Interesting.
So what encouraged you to learn about all this stuff, and like what inspired the idea to even start this?
Yeah, how'd you become a cookie expert?
Yeah. So
These are delicious, by the way.
I appreciate
We're
it.
on solid.
Thank you. So my background is actually in the finance industry. I previously worked at a private equity firm, and all during that time, I just personally became really interested in health and nutrition. I wanted to learn how I could change my diet to look better, feel better, have more energy, live longer, all the great things you hear about from healthy eating. And as I dove into that research, one key point kept coming back as a core tenet of a healthy diet, and that is to avoid blood sugar spikes. So that led me to start cutting down on sugar, cutting down on carbs, and I started doing the keto diet myself, and was loving the results that I was getting, how I was feeling. But I would just always get these massive cravings for dessert all the time. So I started to go online, go to the store, try and find a dessert or a baked good that actually tasted good, that wouldn't spike my blood sugar. So after trying pretty much everything I could get my hands on, I was just really disappointed by what was out there. And I knew there had to be a better way to create a cookie that like looked, tasted, and felt much more like a fresh neighborhood baked cookie, like a fresh neighborhood bakery, or the cookies you could bake at home with your parents growing up. But that still wouldn't spike your blood sugar. So that led me to partner up with an awesome chef. His name is Chef Jeff.
Shout out, Chef
Shout out
Jeff.
Chef Jeff.
He'll probably watch this.
He is a master baker, and he previously was the program director of the baking and pastry arts program at one of the top culinary schools in the country here in New York. And we linked up in July of 2021, started working on the recipes then, and launched the business in January of 2022.
Wow.
That was good.
So I got a quick question. If we backtrack, you said you started by, there was at one point you were trying the keto diet.
Yep.
And you had felt really good from it, but you were craving those like desserts. For those who are listening who don't, or watching who don't know what the keto diet is, run me through like what a day of eating would look like for you.
Yeah, for sure. So the keto diet in general is a diet where you heavily restrict your carbohydrate intake so that your body switches from using glucose as its main source of fuel, which comes from things like carbohydrates and sugar, to switching to using fat as its main source of fuel. And it is a great way to manage blood sugar spikes, to feel more satiated when you eat, and to avoid a lot of kind of high sugar, unhealthy processed foods. So typically to kind of stay in ketosis, you are trying to limit your net carbohydrate intake to under 25 grams per day. And I say net because there are two different measures of carbs in the food you eat. One is total and the second is net. So total carbs includes things like fiber. So if you eat a pound of broccoli, it might have 20 grams of carbs in it total, but 16 of those are fiber. So you're really only getting 4 grams of net carbs, which is why, pouring 20 grams of sugar into your mouth spikes your blood sugar a ton, but eating a pound of broccoli doesn't spike it at all because you have all that fiber and other, healthy stuff in there to blunt that blood sugar spike.
Yeah.
So, if you're eating 25 grams or less of net carbs per day, you can think of that as like one slice of bread is 25 grams of net carbs.
Oh, damn. So you eat one slice of bread and that's all the whole carbs.
So I would eat 0 slices of bread because my net carb intake would come from vegetables and like higher carb vegetables like a carrot. You even eat less of that stuff because you like really try and keep the carb count low.
Got it.
I think in the end, like whether you're doing the keto diet or you're just generally trying to be a healthy person, the concept of limiting blood sugar spikes is universal. So it's not something where like, you need to do the keto diet to be healthy, or even the keto diet is de facto the healthiest diet. It's just that overall, whatever diet you're doing, if you can limit your blood sugar spikes more, you'll probably feel better and look healthier and be healthier.
Yeah.
So before you started a year and a half ago, did you know all this or no?
Before I started like getting interested in health and nutrition, this was all a black box to me.
Gotcha.
I had no idea. I thought it was just kind of, try and eat as little as possible if you want to lose weight.
You're just like a private equity guy.
Yeah.
Damn, that's crazy.
I think of keto, I think of like high fat foods. Maybe not high fat, but it just in my head, having not done it or researched it that extensively, I think of like high fat foods, which sounds counterintuitive if you're trying to like lose weight, stay healthy, be fit.
Yeah.
So like,
it's a good point. The keto diet was actually originally developed as a treatment for seizures in children. So back when that was developed, in order to keep the kids, getting the calorie intake that they needed while limiting their carb intake enough, they were just, adding a bunch of fat to the diet. So, a breakfast for this classic keto diet, which would be 75% of your calories from fat, 20% from protein, and 5% from carbs. That would mean, you're not eating too much protein. You kind of have to limit your protein intake, heavily limit your carb intake. And then they were literally drinking heavy cream.
Wow.
And I think these days, the development of the keto diet, less in a medical sense and more in a weight loss kind of application, is more conducive or more means these days limiting your carb intake while, letting yourself have the freedom of eating protein as you see fit, and not necessarily adding extra fat, but just eating the amount of fat that would keep you satiated.
Interesting. So after you figured all of this stuff out, right? How'd you think to get into the whole e-commerce game? Because like it's a cookie, right? So you saw this all online. Why don't you just like open up like a bakery?
Yeah, it's a good question.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
It's actually something that I considered when I was...
You did? Oh, actually?
Yeah, I actually did. So if you were to start a bakery I guess I'll take one step back first. We're doing something that's not like, no one else is doing this like we're doing it. So it's not, in order to have a physical retail bakery, you need to have strong demand in that physical location.
Yeah.
So my concern with starting a physical bakery would have been, hey, if we open this bakery in like the East Village of Manhattan, which is where I live, like, would there be enough people right in that area who are interested in a sugar-free, low-carb?
That'd probably be the only place that it would work.
Yeah. But the rent would be very high.
The rent would be high.
That's going to be a problem.
That's
too.
probably the only place in the whole. Actually, probably like LA and like San Francisco. Like the other two options.
So would there be enough demand to support like a physical storefront when you're limiting yourselves to customers literally in that
That makes
vicinity?
sense.
And two is, do we think there's enough upside in the business to really
There
build
isn't. Yeah,
a
it's
strong
hard.
business that way, when each time you open a physical retail location in Manhattan, you're probably paying, $500K of build out costs to do it. It's a large upfront investment with a pretty uncertain return.
Yeah.
Whereas with a direct to consumer business, you can, get a product out there, start with a low investment. We started in a commercial kitchen out in New Jersey that had a bunch of the equipment that we already needed. Wasn't a large upfront investment on the kitchen side. And it allowed us to focus our efforts on kind of building our brand and putting money more towards marketing and product rather than putting it towards like, we need to buy a bunch of ovens and build a sign for
How
retail.
much are you doing every month right now?
We did 142K in March.
It's like 150,000. I want to like dig into that. So it's taken you like a year and a half to get to this point.
Yep.
What was the whole process of like, all right, a year and a half, you're like, I want to make a cookie company. And then you're like, crap, do I just like go make a Shopify? So, like, I'm actually, because like usually it's like most brands, they'll just find like a product either off of like AliExpress, Alibaba, rebranded in China, bring it to the US and like launch it, or like a supplement company, kind of like Avi we were talking about before. Yeah. Those are like easier. Those are more set in stone. This is like more food. You have to figure out like cleanliness, cooking, kitchens, this, that, and the third. Like what was like the first steps that you did start taking to kind of
and
get
this was your
this?
first brand.
Yeah.
This was your first brand.
Because like most
yeah.
people get into it, they sell a product.
What's up, New Money Talks fam? Quick one for our sponsors over at AdCopy AI. Tony Mastalone and his team have produced one of the most revolutionary marketing tools to date called AdCopy AI. And what it does is essentially harnesses the power of AI in order to lead your acquisition systems and strategies for your marketing efforts, right? So whether you're selling physical products or digital products, it is much more tailored and targeted for marketers relative to something like a Chat GPT. And I want to really quickly show you how it works. So let's say my buddy's company, Javi Coffee, he wants me to run ads for his brands and populate ad copy. What I would do is I would come over to the AdCopy AI Chrome extension. I'd click create Facebook copy and I'd provide some inputs, right? So this is the input category. So this is going to be javicoffee.com. Target audience are going to be young Starbucks addicts. And then, you can also have selling points populate directly from the product URL. And they have something called a creativity amplifier, which is really unique. So the more creative you make it, the more kind of obviously creativity they can pull into the copy. It might not be incredibly accurate for what it is that you're going to be selling. And so you have to kind of play around with the creativity amplifier, right? So if you make this very low, it's going to be a very cookie cutter response depending on your inputs, right? So it might be like regurgitated, but when you have the creativity amplifier up, it gets very, very creative and it can spit out some really cool outputs, right? So I'm going to go ahead and click on generate Facebook ad copy, and we're going to let AdCopy AI do its magic. Boom. So we have elevate your coffee experience. Tired of the same old Starbucks routine? Meet Javi Coffee, your new coffee obsession. Crafted for true coffee lovers, our premium microdose coffee concentrate packs a punch of flavor and energy in every drop. This is so good. This is something way better than what I could do. Honestly, what any other human could likely do. And it generated that in seconds. And pretty soon they're going to have an update that directly imports this into your Facebook ads manager. So you don't even have to leave the platform, right? So shout out to Tony and the team over at AdCopy AI. Definitely check out the link in our description if you're interested in getting this for you, for your brand, or for your agency. And make sure that you tell Tony or you tell the AdCopy team that New Money Talks sent you so you can get that New Money Talks discount. Now back to the podcast.
Like that already exists because it's kind of easier. They can maybe learn, but you just we're like, I'm custom manufacturing this, not even manufacturing, like cooking, baking this product. Like that's a lot.
Yeah.
Not knowing
like your first month, how much you do in revenue? Like your first month you launched.
First month we launched, we did around 20K in revenue.
That's pretty good.
Damn.
But then, how'd you do that?
Second month after like the initial like hoopla of the launch, second month went down to like 10.
Okay. But even the 20K,
that's pretty good.
Did you like a big launch or something like that? You try to.
So as I was developing Raize and kind of bringing it to market, I started to just post about my journey on LinkedIn. And I think, through my network there, got people excited to just give the cookies a try.
100%.
But, I think what's really important to me and fundamental to the business is we are like super product driven. Like we are here to create the best possible cookie that doesn't spike your blood sugar. We're not here to, just take a product that's manufactured in China and like market it really well. Yeah. And like some people are amazing at that. Yeah. And like they can be really good businesses if that's like your expertise. But that wasn't my expertise. Yeah. And I knew that if I wanted to build a great brand over time, that we had to bring a product to market that nobody else had and that people wanted.
I have a question about like the blood. How do you even test that this doesn't actually give you a blood spike or whatever?
So I actually, for about 6 months, wore a continuous glucose monitor.
Oh, shoot.
So they're typically reserved for folks with diabetes, but over the past couple of years, there have been some venture-backed companies that are trying to democratize the usage of CGMs, continuous glucose monitors. And essentially you insert this probe that after you do it, you don't feel it under your skin, but you insert like a little piece of film under your skin. And it's kind of like a needle prick when you do it.
Yeah.
And then it stays on your arm or on your torso for like 10 days at a time. And you switch it out every 10 days. And you can actually see how your blood sugar moves based off of
and you
what
do this
you
for
eat.
6 months.
Yeah.
Just to test the cookies.
And personal interest.
Got you. Damn.
As opposed to like pricking your finger every day.
So the other option, the legacy option
Yeah.
before CGMs existed, was people would prick their fingers.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So you've probably seen like commercials that
Yep.
say, hey, the Abbott Freestyle Libre, like don't prick your fingers anymore.
Uh-huh.
That's
And this thing worked.
totally. So a typical cookie so I also kind of would eat a regular cookie and
You see
my
what that
blood
would look
sugar
like?
spike
Yeah,
was.
yeah.
So if you take the same weight of a regular cookie from like a bakery or the grocery store, when I would eat that, my blood sugar would spike 35 to 40 points, which is something that you don't want.
Okay.
And from a Raize cookie, it would move about 5 points.
Damn, so you
which-
saved yourself 35 points.
Yeah, which
Not
is
bad.
which 5 points is kind of like if you go eat like some chicken and broccoli, you would probably
Wow.
spike like 10 points or something.
Are you allowed to
So-
say what the hell's inside this thing to make that happen?
you can see all of our ingredients on our website.
So what
but-
makes that happen?
So we replace all traditional flour with nut flours. So we have our own blend that we make in house of almond flour, coconut flour, and hazelnut flour.
Interesting.
And then instead of sugar, we use a blend of all natural 0-calorie sweeteners.
Like stevia and stuff like that?
That don't spike your blood sugar.
Interesting.
Yeah. And the cool thing is, like, this business couldn't really have existed in the way it does 10 years ago because, like, the taste of stevia today is very different than it was 10 years ago because you have kind of even more upstream from us in the supply chain, these food manufacturers that are fully dedicated to developing the best alternative sweeteners to sugar. And the first iteration of this stuff was the artificial sweetener. So the stuff that's in Diet Coke, like aspartame.
Yeah.
And, a lot of people have soured on those artificial sweeteners for various reasons. Some of them controversial, like, some people say like, oh, they cause cancer. So a lot of
So,
people
like, it's
say
harder
there's
for your
not
body to
enough,
break down,
there's not much evidence to support that. But whether it's true or not, a lot of consumers don't want to consume artificial sweeteners.
Yeah.
So the rise of, better tasting alternative natural sweeteners has really allowed for the creation of a product like this that actually tastes good but doesn't have sugar.
So like what's the difference between like a stevia and like an artificial sugar?
Yeah, so stevia actually comes from a leaf, like it's a plant that grows in South America, and they process it into either a liquid or a powder, and it has a compound that is sweet but has no caloric or nutritive.
Dude, you got all the answers for this stuff. That's
You have to.
crazy.
You have to.
It's like the whole facility is it like USDA and all this stuff too. Like
Yeah, so we're certified
FDA
by
clean.
Department of Health in Jersey. And all
Jeez, that's all a mess too to do, right?
luckily,
It's all
we
process.
came into a kitchen that
Okay.
had the certification already, so we didn't have to actively go do that.
Got it.
But
I
yeah,
have a question. Like the first month you did 20K, then you did 10K. What'd you do the third month? Remember?
third month was similar to 10K or so.
So why didn't you quit? That's
Um,
my question.
Yeah, because I knew we had a great product.
You
And I knew-
actually were you like down on yourself though the first 3-4 months? You're
Yeah,
like,
I
shit,
was-
this sucks.
I mean, I was a little down on myself that like it sucks to go from 20 to 10 and then to not go back to 20
Yeah.
right away. So we were through kind of from January through June, we were pretty much stuck under that 10K mark. And in July, we really started to unlock our growth by getting into the digital marketing game.
Oh, so you weren't doing any ads before that?
We did 0 ads
Oh, that's
until
why, okay.
July.
And that's really good for not running any ads because that's
Um,
what, like 40% margins.
Oh, so you were like profitable probably on those months, kind
30.
of.
Yeah, but we had some fixed costs of the kitchen of like,
Mm.
hey, we have rent, we have our chef's salary, like we have.
So like,
those
is this
things.
kitchen like pretty much like your guys' kitchen, or do you like share with other people? Like, how does that work?
We take up most of the space, and then we have the guy who rents our kitchen space to us. He does a little bit of producing of like various things like juices or kale chips or dog treats.
So it's just like a normal kitchen. Like you can make anything you want in this.
You
thing,
can make
probably.
anything you want, except the kitchen is dedicated gluten-free.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so everything has to be gluten free.
Everything, because it's gluten-free is something you got to take like very seriously. So, you can like really hurt someone if you give like a celiac gluten.
I see.
So it's really important to have no like even air cross contamination, because if someone's using flour across the room and you're baking cookies on this side, like there's going to be some cross contamination.
Oh, just because like with the wind and like the draft or something. Oh, that's crazy.
So you can't use like the same ovens. You can't use the same pans. Like it really has to be a dedicated.
I'm curious, how come when you launched, you didn't do any ads from the beginning? Why did it take you like 4 or 5 months to kind of start buying ads?
A couple of reasons. I think first was I wanted to give it a shot at, hey, can this grow organically?
Proof of
without
concept.
any
Everyone
ads?
thinks that. Everyone thinks, oh, and they're like, crap, this doesn't work.
I gotta put money behind this.
They're like, damn, I gotta buy some Facebook ads.
So that would have been the dream.
Yeah, right. You just launch it and it goes crazy. Yeah. It's kind of funny because some people like make it seem like that happened.
Yeah.
But I feel like very rarely does that ever actually happen.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we got this, but like there's probably some like influencer in the back or some post or this. Like there's some weird thing that made it go like that. So
yeah. I think what you really quickly realize is, there are a ton of people who want this product,
but no one knows about it.
no one knows about it.
Yeah.
And like as a consumer, I think I saw someone on Twitter post this the other day. You see like 3,000 plus ads per day.
A day.
So
damn, that's a lot.
Yeah.
If
And
you're
you're
going
thinking
to see 3,000 ads a day, how are you going to find out about a cookie company that isn't running any?
Literally.
So
distracted.
like it's hard to grow a business solely word of mouth unless you have like that, huge hit influencer posts about you, which we realized pretty quickly. And after that, it was a matter of getting the right processes in place to make our ads successful. So you can't just kind of go and turn on ads on Facebook all of a sudden without really prepping your brand to maximize the dollars that you're spending there. So we had to then go back to look at ourselves and say, hey, is our website ready to accept a cold consumer coming from Facebook who knows nothing about us and able to convert them to a customer? No.
Yes, there was no back then. Yeah. I saw the site now looks like people would buy from this type of thing.
Yeah. So, we didn't have a landing page. We had our website was I had a college guy help me out for $500 to build our website initially.
Got it.
And second was like, do we have content to use in running ads? Answer to that was also no. So then it was like, all right, let's I started filming stuff myself. I got my friends and family to film stuff. We sent stuff to like UGC folks to like with gifted collaborations, content for cookies. And
content for cookies. That's funny. I like that.
And we built a library of, photos and videos from that. And then we paired up with a media buyer and got things going in July of 2022.
Have you been with the same person the whole time?
We switched agencies in December. So in 2022, our CAC was 31.5.
Damn.
And
even that's a good CAC though, honestly.
It's not industry standard, not horrible.
Yeah.
And I think what that showed us was, and keep in mind, that's also like first month starting out, like you don't have any kind of data on what works and what doesn't. And like first ads you're running, it's kind of like seeding the pixel concept. So we, had a solid pocket of some results that were promising in 2022, but we knew it wasn't the right CAC to build our business with. In December, we started working with a new agency. Shout out to DDU. They've been great. We really through that efforts, like way more pushed just the number of pieces of content per week that we were testing out. I think like a big learning was don't assume what you think is going to work, test what's going to work. So, we went from testing 3 concepts of an ad per week to testing, 5 to 10 per week. And with each different concept, testing, 3 different sets of copy with each to really, in the end, create anywhere from like 15 to 30 pieces of or unique ads per week to test versus, kind of the somewhere sub 10
Yeah.
before that. And then, placing a much greater focus on different messaging on the website, with kind of one consistent style of landing page, but, different kind of headlines that could make someone go to your website, land there and say, all right, I'm in the right spot.
Yeah.
So
you'd say the biggest lever wasn't necessarily just like that the new agency had better ad strategy. It's just they had a greater testing capacity of creative, of different, landing page
They make
offers.
the creative, or you make the creative?
they ask for pieces of creative, and
So I consult you on it.
yeah. So they ask for, hey, can you get a UGC video of someone unboxing the cookies, like getting them out their front door, unboxing and taking their first bite.
Yeah.
And then we'll send that to them and they'll like splice it up into an ad, overlay text, overlay video. And like they're doing the creation of that like final video that goes on Facebook.
So like
TikTok.
more like the editing as opposed to the raw content.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How long is that process of like when they're like, hey, I need this video, to like you giving them the video to them actually launching that ad?
It depends on what they're asking for, but if it's something that's slightly more like studio shot, we'll get back to them in like a few days, and then they'll be able to turn it around into a new ad by the next week.
That's good.
So if it's something like, hey, we love a shot of like a stack of cookies and you drizzling like chocolate syrup on top of them, we'll get that to them in a few days.
How do you do that? Do you go to your kitchen and you do that in the kitchen?
We have
the studio.
We have an awesome photographer based out in Seattle who's kind of a freelance social media guy. So we keep him stocked with cookies. And, he's always there to help.
You're like, hey, go to the supermarket, get some Hershey chocolate and start putting it on top.
Yeah. So like, recently they asked for, videos of like throwing out sugar-filled cookies and like, so that we could kind of use that as a hook in an ad.
Oh, interesting.
So, our guy out in Seattle went to the store and bought some Chips Ahoy and Oreos, and the new hook on one of our top performing ads is him like standing in his kitchen throwing a whole box of Oreos away.
That's funny. It's like, sorry, go.
No, I was just saying it's funny that you mentioned that because like obviously we're seeing that the D2C space has become a lot more content driven, and so we brought on our friends Parth and Alex, who have Pup Rings, a company called Pup Rings, like dog pet rings, and they said that one of the biggest lessons they learned from their mentor was that you want to treat your brand as though it's a content agency that monetizes through the product. And that once you start to look at your brand like that, that's when everything is going to start to change for the better.
Yeah.
Well, it sounded like it changed once you started buying the ads and actually going through that whole process of building content and everything.
Yeah. So then, fast forward from December to January, from that 31.5 CAC in 2022, January was down to 24. February down to 21.5. Wow. Past 2 weeks, we've been at 17.5.
That's
so I have a question for you then. So at a $30 box, how do you stay alive at it? Even at a $13, $17 CAC, whatever you're saying you have. Like, how do you even stay alive though?
Yeah. So our goal really is to be like break even on order one and then get our customers back continually.
And what does your customer look like? Is this like, I can't even imagine what's like who buys, like who type of person buys this? You know what I mean?
So geographically pretty spread out by just population.
Okay.
So our top 4 states are California, Texas, Florida, and New York.
Yeah, that makes sense.
We are concentrated in higher income zip codes. About 60% of our orders come from zip codes that are in the 80th or higher percentile of median income.
Interesting.
So it is a higher income customer who's purchasing our cookies, which makes sense.
Is it like moms? Is it like food junkies? Is it like
and then
athletes? People?
In terms of kind of how they like the more like psychographics of the group, it is 45 to 55 as the biggest age group. After that's 35 to 45. And then third is like 55 to 65. And 25% of our customers are diabetic. So that's really important for them because, I can go eat a sugar-filled cookie if I want to. Yeah. But like someone who's diabetic, they really have to pay attention to limiting their blood sugar spikes for medical reasons. And their doctors are always telling them this. And they're like super excited to find something like Raize that actually tastes good, that won't spike their blood sugar. So that's 25% of our customers. The other 75% say they want to maintain or lose weight using a low carb lifestyle. And we find that almost all of our customers have already tried other low carb cookies and are looking for something that tastes better.
Got it. So they usually taste like shit.
Usually,
Yeah.
so one of our like top performing kind of pieces of copy is keto cookies that don't taste like cardboard.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. It doesn't. No, it tastes fire. Yeah.
Can confirm.
Confirm. At the end, we're gonna need a promo code too to play.
Yeah,
that.
I'm gonna flip these over so that they can see the
the inside. Yeah,
the inside. But no, one thing that we were mentioning before was that a lot of people get into this industry selling products that already exist, and I feel like if you have to be an insanely good marketer to sell a product that other people have access to, whereas when you create a custom product like this, eventually, if you give it time, you got to be patient, but the product will start to sell itself, and it's just going to start snowballing and growing through word of mouth. Whereas usually, if it's just like a product that you can get kind of anywhere, if you do a little bit of research, then that's not going to really snowball word of mouth as much, at least to your particular brand, right? People are always going to find the manufacturer or find like the dupe of it or whatever it might be.
No, it's interesting because like I'm sure you just have people who just like actually like it and just come back and buy. You don't even have to like remarket to them, right? They're just
Totally.
like they buy the cookie now.
Exactly.
It's like part of their like monthly budget of like food budget, right?
Yeah. So our top customer over the last 90 days has spent just under $2,000.
Damn.
Jeez.
That's a lot of these cookies.
He's got a big family.
I was curious about
Like
the
a
cookies
church.
though too. So like, is the chef just like baking these things like every day, all day?
Yep.
Like how many are you making a day? Cookies type of thing.
So we're making a few thousand cookies a day.
Wow.
And then people like pack these things too and everything.
Yep. So we have a flow wrap machine that
Okay.
packs them into
That thing.
this. Yeah. And there's a video of the flow wrap on our TikTok, so you can check
Maybe
that
we'll throw
out.
it up.
Yeah.
They'll throw it up. Boom.
And it basically, conveyor sends the cookies through the film, wraps around the cookies, and then it cuts it with a heat sealer, and out comes a bag. Then we take all the bags and pack them into the mailer style boxes like that. Then when you place your order, we take the boxes, put them in the shipping box, and send it out through
Do
UPS.
cookies ever get like expired or anything and stuff like that?
So
Like,
our shelf life is once the customer receives it, 2 weeks at room temp, 2 months in the fridge, or 6 months frozen.
oh shit,
Wow.
that's pretty good.
When we bake everything, we store it frozen and then pick it out of the freezer to send to the customer. And it's actually great because we did taste tests and no one could tell the difference between a frozen and thawed cookie versus a never frozen cookie.
Oh, so these are frozen after they're made.
Yeah. So
Wow.
these cookies that you guys had were frozen, and I
Wow.
took them out of the freezer this morning.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
And like they don't melt.
So in the summer, if they get over like 85 degrees or so, the chocolate will start melting.
Interesting.
So in the hottest months, we use kind of insulated coolers and gel packs to ship.
did you ever have problems with that? People being like, "Yo, I got my thing and it was all
Yeah,
melted
so
and stuff."
we didn't know it was going to happen.
You're gonna learn the hard
because
way.
You learn the hard way.
We launched in January.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so you didn't even think about it.
So in like July, I started getting emails from customers saying basically that they were just getting like crumbles, of
Yeah.
not a cookie.
Wow.
And that was like a big oh shit moment.
Yeah.
So we like really quickly cobbled together a solution of like styrofoam coolers, ordering from Uline, and like not well priced, not environmentally friendly, like not a great solution. But now this summer we're ready for it with some eco-friendly kind of custom sized coolers to send out.
Yeah. Because I feel like more than half the time, any given like person in the United States is in an area that's like pretty warm.
Yeah. So in like basically October through May, or half of May, we're like totally fine. And then once we get to second half of May,
It's like right now. Like this is
So-
the time.
we just got our first delivery of our coolers today.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to like start probably next week sending some stuff out in coolers. We divide out orders by like destination weather.
Who
Yeah.
runs like the whole operation? Do you run the operation in the back end too? Like all like fulfillment of all this and everything too?
Yeah.
And you So and you're by yourself right now. You don't have any partners or anything, right?
Yeah,
Just
that's
manage
right.
a bunch of teams,
Yeah, yeah.
which is honestly sick. Like because you manage teams that I'm assuming already have like a little bit of a managerial structure within them as well.
Mhm.
Like that's really nice. That's the one
Yeah.
thing that's nice about like an agency as opposed to like a media buyer. Because when you hire a media buyer, it's like, well, you got to be up their ass making sure they're doing what they're doing. Whereas when you hire an agency, you usually have maybe someone who's managing a media buyer or two and who's like holding the fort down while you're gone, and then you step in and talk to them on a much lesser frequent basis than you would the media buyer directly.
Yeah, so like I'd say what I do on a day-to-day basis is like a very interesting mixture of like high level facilitating things and like super low level like
Groundwork.
respond to Facebook customer
Yeah,
inquiries
yeah.
and like print orders off of Shopify.
Yeah,
gotcha.
Like,
you got to be in tune with those things.
Yeah.
Like some people outsource too quickly without understanding what goes into it, and then
Mhm.
you lose the appreciation for that role or like the fundamental understanding of how to do it. So like I've had people who had told me that they outsourced to a VA, customer service, and the whole time they were doing a horrible job, but they didn't know how to judge it because they never did the customer service in the beginning themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jeez, this is like. Do you do any wholesale? Like do you sell to any like supermarkets or anything, stuff like that? Or all
Yeah,
D2C right now?
we really want a big part of our future to be through wholesale.
Okay.
And I think, seeing Raize cookies in like a Whole Foods or
Mhm.
a Walmart would be like really great places for us.
For sure.
Right now we're in 3 or 4 retail locations in New York City,
Got it.
mostly as a way for me to kind of see what flavors sell best.
Yeah.
Test out the different packaging that we've used, and to be able to, go up to the manager and say like, hey, how's everything going?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that when we are ready to approach larger retail, we kind of know how to do it and know what sells and what works. But if we were to, get in with a Whole Foods, we would need to expand our production efforts more. So that's actually what we're working on right now. Kind of top priority for the business is a fundraising round that will allow us to expand our production and really attack retail.
How much money are you raising?
We're looking to raise $1.5 million.
And it's all like for production stuff like that. Most of it.
Most of it's for production. We also we're going to use some for like inventory investment to adopt like a 3PL out on the West Coast to get better shipping times to customers there.
You have to like pre-buy all these ingredients and everything too, don't
Yeah,
you?
that's right.
That's probably a lot of upfront costs,
Yeah. So we get some terms on some ingredients, but a lot of food ingredient companies are very conservative on terms that they give because they've probably gotten burned in the past because food's a tough industry. And when your customers are always going under, you're not going to give terms to that new cookie company.
Yeah. We were chatting with Ankit on the last podcast, and he was saying like in the supplement industry, it's the same idea where like these companies will grow so fast, give you like net 60, and then like companies don't even exist, and then they don't get paid back, and they're just like, well, crap.
Yeah, and like they can have 2 years of like good payment history with a manufacturer, but then like the one payment they miss that's like 6 figures.
What's up, New Money Talks fam? We just want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, Scale Brands. This is a self plug because this is my direct consumer marketing agency where we help D2C brands grow through paid advertising and brand growth consulting. And I can confidently say that we are among the best at what we do because I've actually built my own brands to upwards of $1.7 million a month. I've built multiple brands to multi 6 figures per month as well. Very, very profitably, might I add. And we are specialists at helping brands grow. So if you are an e-commerce brand and you are looking to streamline your ad creative acquisition, you're looking to grow your paid acquisitions channels, and you're looking to be able to implement systems and frameworks that are backed by over 8 figures in profitable ad spend and close to 9 figures in attributed direct consumer e-commerce revenue, then Scale Brands is the agency for you. So again, if you run an e-commerce brand or you know someone who runs a direct consumer e-commerce brand, send them over to scalebrands.com and make sure that you tell them that New Money Talks sent you so you can get that New Money Talks discount. Now back to the podcast.
Yeah.
Like the
It
supplier
just destroys the whole supplier at
Yeah.
that point. So then it's like you can't really take that risk,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always nuts. What do you think has gotten you to like say 140K a month? Like what is it all just like Facebook pretty much has gotten to this point?
Yeah, I think
And a good product, obviously.
Yeah, so I think like fundamentally it's the product. If we weren't creating something that was better than what's currently out there, like we wouldn't be where we are right now. And what has gotten the word out about that has primarily been Facebook.
Is there a lot of like subscriptions or not?
Subscription is between 10 and 15% of our revenue.
Okay.
We find that even most of our top customers aren't subscribers because they tend to like to place their orders when they want to place them, try different flavors at different times. It's all stuff that you can actually manage within our subscription portal. But
people are lazy.
People like to just go on there and place their order and not worry about like, oh, I get a weekly box of X flavor and I have to change it every week when I want something.
Have you ever had like bad batches happen too? Just
Luckily, never a full bad batch.
Because I was thinking like, damn, like you're cooking, like I don't know, maybe something gets burnt or something, maybe like this type of thing, you know?
Yeah, no, we've definitely had like a run through the oven that we've had to toss because. You know, if you leave we have a 13-minute bake time. If it goes 15 because someone, you know, popped over to the bathroom during during baking. Like,
that's happened before?
No.
Okay.
Just or someone went outside to accept a delivery while the cookies were in the oven and forgot about them. Like then you have to toss things. But that's only happened a couple times, fortunately. And no, like large scale, we mixed a batch totally wrong and had to throw everything out type of stuff.
For sure. And like how many different types of cookies do you have?
We have 4 permanent cookie flavors, and then each cookie is paired with a filling to make a cookie sandwich. So 4 cookies, 4 cookie sandwiches.
So like 8
those
total.
are the sandwiches, right?
Yeah, these are the sandwiches.
Yeah,
and then
so good. And like not just saying that, like very good. We're gonna have a discount code somewhere. Whether it's 15%, 20%, new money talks. We got you guys.
Yeah.
Get you some cookies.
And then each month we run at least one limited edition flavor. And that's been really great for bringing returning customers back more often because we put out like a vote and we say, hey, here are 3 flavors we're considering. Vote on whichever flavor you want to see most.
That's sick.
And then whatever wins, we bake. And that's really great for engagement because it makes people feel like we care about their opinion, which we do. And it gives people what they want to buy. Like they're telling us what they want.
Not enough people do that. Like brands have brands and they're like, oh, you know, let me launch this product because I think it's going to do well, instead of literally asking their customers who will gladly tell them what they want. And then you just produce that and it's guaranteed going to sell better than whatever else you were going to think of.
Where do you do the polling for all that?
So we have our Facebook Raize cookie community.
Nice.
Then we also do it on our text channel. We use a text service called Wizard. It's fairly new, but the reason I like it is because they actually have like real humans on the other side of it. So if you'll go through a few automated prompts, like when you first sign up for our texts. And then after that, like if you text in a question like, hey, what nut flour do you use in the cookies? There'll be a human there to answer. Like we use almond hazelnut.
Is that your team or their team?
That's their team.
Is it expensive? Yeah.
Well, they're kind of a venture-backed startup, so I think they're still in the. I think Mark Laurie, like the Jet.com guy, is backing
behind them.
So you know they're well funded and also building a great product. So they're partly focused on monetizing, and they have a bunch of paying customers, but they also are focused on like learning and making their product better at the same time. So for the value, it's great.
Yeah, got to make money at some point though.
Yeah, seriously.
Because that.
What does your family think about all you being a chef over here, a baker,
cookie man?
So when I told my parents that I was going to quit my lucrative finance job,
make it like $300K a year to sell cookies.
My dad said, "Can I just go take your old job instead?"
Not bad.
That's what my dad would say.
But they've been super supportive. They're #1 fans, and they're always there. They were the first featured Raize ads when we launched ads in July of 22. So they're great supporters, and love to have them around. Always there for showing off the cookies.
So your dad didn't take the job.
He stuck with his doctor gig.
There you go. That's solid too. Oh man, Kyle, you had something. I'll cut you off. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I lost my train of thought.
Oh, good. You have any questions for us? Actually, I'm curious. I've never asked that question.
Yeah, you don't know much about us.
Yeah. You have any questions about us?
Let's see. If hearing everything we've been talking about today, what's an opportunity or two that you think we should be pushing harder that we're not?
It's a good question. Bigger AOV. Like $30 is so like we were talking about that other company. It's like $140 for like the box, and they make it seem all amazing.
Our AOV is like 59.
That's pretty high though. Okay, because people buy 2 boxes
most of the time. Yeah.
Are you planning on expanding outside of just cookies, like chips or something like that ever, or do you not want to spread yourself too thin?
Yeah, I think there's a massive market in low carb, blood sugar friendly cookies. So I want to make sure first that we are creating the best tasting cookie that won't spike your blood sugar, focusing all of our efforts on that and growing that through D2C and retail. And then in the future, that would open up for, hey, do we want to make a brownie? Do we want to make a cake jar?
Oh yeah, brownie would be easy.
So
interesting. It's like this is the same ovens and same kitchens that can do all that type of stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's just put new batter in.
Yeah. It's we've done a little bit of initial like testing on what a brownie would taste like. Mm-hmm. Not super happy with anything yet, but things like this take time. We want to make sure, if we're ever releasing something that we think it's great.
Yeah. I have 2 questions. One of them, I guess not really a question, but maybe a suggestion would be that we were talking about it earlier, that type of digital product. Yeah. We've seen it do very well because pretty much like if you name any product, I could get creative and I can think of something that you can have in a 10-page digital PDF or like an ebook that genuinely provides a lot of value, but doesn't cost the business any money outside the initial investment. So like if you got really specific on, diabetics or on athletes and you said, hey, as a diabetic, like here are recipes or here are like nutrition hacks that you probably didn't know of, XYZ, or for athletes, here are exercises that you can do that you can pair with a healthy diet. Our cookies being part of that, that can help you achieve your fitness goals faster, whatever. That's kind of one thing. And then the second thing was TikTok organic.
Mm-hmm.
Have you tried that yet? TikTok organic?
Yeah. So we're posting about 3 TikTok videos a week. I think we could do a better job.
3 a day.
You do like 3 a day on like 3 different channels.
Because this is the type of product that can lend itself to virality. Yeah. Kind of like Tabs and all these other brands that have done really well. Just because you whatever is working well with the ad, whatever hook, you just amplify that and you back, a good looking young creator behind that, or a good looking middle-aged creator, whoever your target demographic is, and you just have them pumping content all day long. Like the CPM, like what it's going to cost to reach 1,000 people is going to be significantly lower than any ad platform.
You ever see like those like videos where like they put bend the cookie in half and it's like all mushy inside and everything? Yeah. Could you make videos like that and stuff like that?
Yeah, we actually have a lot of that for our ad content.
Dude, TikTok would kill on those. Yeah. Just take like 100 of those, just start posting them. People go like, this is
it's literally just a volume game. Like we were even seeing it for the podcast shorts.
Yeah, we have like 70,000 followers on TikTok.
Oh wow.
We post all day.
We had one video that did like 10 million views, another that did like 3 million, and it's just. And people ask us like, well, how'd you do that? We're like, no idea. We literally just posted a lot.
Like, comment, and share.
Yeah.
We literally just like upload a lot. Like if you upload volume, you're gonna find something that hits. And we like at the agency, we like using TikTok for testing creatives that we would have otherwise had to test with paid ads. So rather than spending $100 to test a creative, you could test it for free with organic and maybe actually get paid for it because you're getting sales organically, and now you're recirculating that on multiple platforms, Snapchat, TikTok, Facebook, whatever. And TikTok's kind of like the new kid on the block. So like, it had its time where it was a little bit better, where it was lower CPMs, but it's still performing very good.
Yeah, this would rip on TikTok. It's a nice 100%. Cookie, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, or even like in the kitchen, like people working in the kitchen.
And people think like, $29 price point, like might be a little high for, the 18-year-olds on TikTok, but like, TikTok is becoming a lot more comparable to Instagram now. And people are like, we have a client right now that's selling a $100 product, no problems, flying off the shelves. And so like, it's just who you market and how you market to them. Yeah.
Yeah. I like both of those, ebook and and more organic.
Yeah, because you can also recirculate the organic content on like Instagram Reels, on Facebook Reels, on YouTube. Like we were using one app, and there's theories and mixed opinions and data behind some of this, but there's apps that you can automatically repost. Like if you put it on one platform, it'll repost it to 4 others, and like that's good for automation. But I think the algorithm favors if you manually upload it, or you have like VAs or someone who's like manually uploading it. But even if you recirculate it through like an app or something, it's still going to get views and it's still going to get out there without any like extra effort.
Like, you probably can even find some of your customers and be like, "Hey, do any of you guys like TikTok? I want to post on TikTok." And you can give your customers like $500 a month, and they start posting for you on their accounts.
One thing that we've done is like either giveaways or like incentives where we say, "Hey, make a TikTok. If it gets X amount of views, we'll pay you X amount of dollars." So like $100 per every 100,000 views, let's say. Yeah. And then if someone with a cap, right? Because you don't know TikTok. One video could do 100 million views. Now you have to pay this 18-year-old kid from Nebraska $100,000.
And you got no conversions.
So you gotta, but like what we'll do with creators is we'll say like, $1,000 a month for a video a day, and with a performance incentive. And so let's say that's $100 per 100,000 views, but with a cap of like 5K as like a bonus. Yeah. So if they have a video that does 10 million views, instead of paying them 10 grand, you're like, here's your $5,000 bonus that you wouldn't have gotten if the video didn't perform, but it didn't take you any extra work to get that. Yeah. So it's like, here's your chunk of change, but we just made 100 grand off that one video in a single day. And we've seen that with clients that we've both worked with, where they've done 200, 300K in a day, even though they're notoriously like a 20K a month company. So the power of organic is definitely crazy.
Oh, it's nuts, especially for this.
Yeah,
I should try that this week. Yeah, I should definitely try that. It's so low cost to try. You know what I mean? True. Like, to make a TikTok account, to make a video, especially because you're already making all the content already. It's not hard to do.
Yeah, and you scale it horizontally instead of vertically. That's one thing that we've learned both through trial and error and people who've crushed it in the past, is that a lot of people think like put a lot of content on one account and make that one account look really good. But if you have multiple accounts with multiple different creators, then the people that they attract and the markets that it hits within the algorithm are totally different. So you can have one like older lady and one like younger fitness guy who are both managing accounts, and they reach totally separate markets and have different kind of chances of virality,
Yeah, no, it's interesting.
Yeah. Have you tried selling this to gyms or anything like that too?
Yeah, we actually find that like lifting focused customers are not our core demographic.
Yeah.
Typically like the lifter is really into high protein and potentially even higher carb stuff too. Yeah. But super low fat usually, which is not really what we're doing.
Have you considered like making like a protein cookie?
So we kind of feel like that's
cardboard,
out there.
Probably, right?
Yeah,
that's probably cardboard, right?
They're kind of bordering on cardboard status. But like, I think Quest is a pretty good protein cookie. Yeah. Like, I don't necessarily want to go and compete with their protein cookie. Yeah. I don't think there's anything nearly as good as what we're doing with low carb. So, something that is kind of covered by another company already, I'm less interested in going and attacking. I'm more interested in like carving our own niche.
Yeah, being like a specialist in one thing instead of like trying to be a jack of all trades.
Yeah. Quest Nutrition's pretty fucking big.
Yeah. I got the protein chips.
Like the classic one is Lenny and Larry's. And like they're probably 15 grams of protein in a cookie or something.
They're so expensive too. Oh my God.
But they're also 15 grams of net carbs. So if you're doing a keto diet or if you're diabetic, you're at 60% of your carb intake for the day on a snack. Then how are you even gonna eat your vegetables after that?
Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah. Do you have an office, or is just your apartment in New Jersey, back and forth?
Yeah, kitchen in Jersey, apartment in the city, back and forth.
Back and forth. Yep. That's a lot of miles. Oh man. Yeah. Any crazy emergencies ever happen with this thing too?
We've been pretty fortunate to not have anything. Anything
aside from like the melting and
the melting was a big one. Because all of a sudden we were sending out hundreds of orders and getting complaints like pouring in all of a sudden. So that was like, we sent out a big email blast saying, hey, like we just found out that some of our customers were receiving melted cookies. like, if this happened to you, shoot me an email. Like, we'll make it right for you. And it turned out fine because everyone who had a bad batch, like, emailed us and we got them a new set of cookies and, built goodwill with them. Yeah. But that was not fun in the moment.
Yeah, nothing good customer service can't fix.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good customer service goes a long way. It really does.
Very long.
It really goes a long way. People don't even think about that, but like it's kind of funny because like some smaller brands, they get really if you get like one email about someone pissed, they go crazy. And it's like, well, if you did like more sales to that one person, you wouldn't even like realize it.
Yeah.
With good customer service, you just like twist it every single time. Be like, hey, like you make a promo code called "We Are Sorry 30."
Yeah.
Go buy
like,
again.
okay.
Yeah. They're like, okay, and they go buy something again. You know what I mean?
But a couple more stories that came to mind of mini crises where we just launched our ads in July of 2022, and they like really in the first week they like way outperformed what we thought they were going to do, and so we're like really scrambling in the kitchen. We were way understaffed, and we go into the kitchen and like I'm in there like getting my hands dirty. We're trying to make as many cookies as possible. And there was a massive rainstorm in New Jersey that totally flooded our kitchen.
I remember that.
Oh,
I remember that rainstorm.
Yeah, that was big.
So what do you got to do equipment and everything?
No, so we were like squeegeeing out all the water from the kitchen. Like we were literally like ankle deep in water at one point, still like scooping cookies.
Is there drainage everywhere too?
Yeah, but the drains were getting blocked because of how bad the storm was. So like we ended up getting everything out by the end of the week, but like in the moment, flooded kitchen, orders coming in.
That's
like,
the worst.
Yeah. And then another one was actually the day before that, our freezer stopped working. So it's like middle of the summer, freezer's not working. So we're like, buying dry ice to like put into the freezer to like cool the freezer down. And like, like making yourself as small as possible to go in and out to not let out the cold air.
How much does it cost like those freezer things to set up and everything?
So
not cheap, right?
They had one walk-in freezer when we got to the kitchen. As we've grown, we brought in a second walk-in freezer that's much bigger. The second walk-in freezer that we brought in was around $35,000.
Jeez, and you have to get installed and everything.
Yeah.
Walk in for you. It's like when you go into Costco and you got the frozen section.
Yeah. It's ours is like a 20 or 260 square foot freezer. So
like this room maybe.
Like this quadrant.
This quadrant. Yeah. And then you just
26 by 10.
You just stack your cookies in there.
Yeah. It's and then it's like 10 feet high. So we've got floor to ceiling. Like
oh really?
Yeah.
So you have like racking in there and everything too in the freezer.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Got to make use of the space.
No, 100. Yeah, you got to go up.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
What are you using for tracking attribution?
Triple Whale.
Yeah, shout out Triple Whale.
Whale.
Sponsor us. We're coming after you. We're going to use this clip.
What do you use for subscriptions?
We use Prive. Prive.
Never heard of that one.
We're coming after you too.
Yeah. There's so many lately though.
Yeah, I think Prive's a newer one. They've been great to work with.
How'd you find them out of all the other ones?
Recommendation from Ron from Obvi.
Oh shoot.
Yeah.
Not bad. Yeah. Ron from Obvi shout.
Is that your affiliate link?
Yeah.
he's the master affiliate man.
Oh man. Oh, this was fun though. We learned a lot. I learned a whole bunch about cookies and blood sugar spikes and everything too.
Yeah, very good.
What's the promo code we can use for this one?
Should we go with
we'll make one up.
Let's go with NMT 15.
All right.
Solid.
NMT 15, 15% off your first order.
There we go. Let us know if you do buy them.
And then you won't regret it.
We're
going to get Yanni to buy like 10 of these because our friend Yanni is anything we suggest. He's just like, yeah, I'll buy 5 of them.
Love it. Yanni, enjoy.
Where can people find you?
They can find me on LinkedIn, Twitter, Zach Ranen, at Zach Ranen on Twitter. You can find us at Raize at eatraize.com, EATRAIZE.com, on socials at eat.raize.
If you wanted to do TikTok organic for him,
he's
ready.
We'll have all that linked in the description as well.
Yeah. And for us, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share
with a friend.
We're almost at 1,000 subscribers, so like we see a little more.
Share with a friend that eats too many cookies.
Oh yeah. Because now you can eat more, but not like get all the.
But you're looking out for him.
Exactly, looking out for a nice guy.
Specific call to action.
Let's get episode 30 over 1,000 subscribers.
Oh, yeah.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah,
okay,
1,000
let's do it.
subscribers and 1,000 views on this video.
Love it.
Get like 50 likes too.
And $1,000 in sales on the right.
Look at that.
Look at
that. You just need like 20 customers, right?
Hey,
$1,000.
NMT 15.
Not bad. Thank you so
Let's do
much.
it.
See you guys on the next
Thanks,
one.
guys.
Appreciate you.
Yeah.